Paper front pages now with Faux Villamino. Hi there.
Hi, Kat.
We're going to start off with this story that's very much shocked people here in France, and the news is spreading around the world now as well, I think. Rémi Fraisse, this 21-year-old protester who died at the weekend during the protest against a dam project.
That's right. That's the controversial Sivens dam project in southwestern France. Now, let's take a look at the front page of Libération. There's a photo of Rémi Fraisse on the front page, and these words, tir fatal, a fatal shot. According to an autopsy, Rémi Fraisse died instantly on Saturday night after being hit in the back by a grenade that was launched by a gendarme. So those are the paramilitary police. Now, Aujourd'hui en France is also focusing on this on their front page. This apparent police blunder has really sparked a lot of protests across the country to denounce police repression. And you can see here, Aujourd'hui en France talks about fears that all this tension could continue to escalate and this environmentalist movement could really blaze up. His death has also sparked outrage among environmentalists who are calling for this controversial dam project to really be stopped. Construction has been halted for now. 20 Minutes wonders, though, could Rémi Fraisse's death, could his death change everything? Could this be the death that will bring an end to this project?
Well, the government's certainly coming under fire, aren't they? We've heard a lot of criticism in our main news bulletin.
That's right. Now, Libération focuses on the fact that the government has drawn criticism for being too slow to respond. In their editorial, they say that the government really failed to recognize just how serious the situation turned out to be. And, well, they didn't respond fast enough. Not only that, but they didn't show enough compassion, according to Libération. And Libération in its editorial calls on the government to explain why did police officers, why were they using these very dangerous grenades? And Libé says the government really needs to make a strong statement and say that it will sanction those that are responsible.
Absolutely. And we ought to point out it's a concussion grenade, not a regular grenade. There has been some confusion in the translation, I think, hasn't there, internationally? Let's talk a little bit more about this sort of political rowing that's going on now. The Socialists and the Green Party really at each other's throats.
That's right. Now, Le Parisien talks about the fact that there is a political mess that has come after this apparent police blunder. But what's happening is that Green deputies, members of parliament, were very, very quick to criticize police action right after Rémi Fraisse's death, before the results of any kind of investigation came out. So yesterday, the Interior Minister, Bernard Cazeneuve, he condemned these Green deputies for being too quick. He blamed them for shamelessly politicizing this whole situation. Now, you have to keep in mind that things between the Green Party and the Socialist Party really haven't been rosy since the Green Party left the government in April. And ever since April, the Green Party has been lashing out against the Socialist Party. And L'Opinion talks actually about a new war within the left. The Socialist government is already facing a lot of criticism from a group of socialist rebels. Well, L'Opinion says there appears to be a new front here. L'Opinion is very critical of the Green Party for exploiting the death of this young man. It's just using it as an excuse to lash out against the government, according to L'Opinion. And it's very critical of the former housing minister, Cécile Duflot. She said that Fraisse's death was a permanent stain on the government's record. L'Opinion says this is ridiculous. Basically, what she's doing is throwing oil on the fire.
All right, and we've got some calls for calm as well amid all this sort of politicking.
That's right. This is La Croix, the Christian paper. It's pointing out that this is all really snowballed into a very dramatic situation. In its editorial, it calls on all sides to take their part of responsibility and to keep in mind that what we're talking about is the death of a young man here. This is a tragedy. Politicians need to stop exploiting the situation, but this message also goes for environmentalist protesters who might be tempted to use Rémi Fraisse's death as an excuse for more violent protests. La Croix says that everybody needs to calm down in remembrance of Rémi Fraisse.
Okay, and well, finally, we can end on a much, much lighter note. Although this is a big rights issue for some people as well. This is the so-called Naked Rambler, one of the UK's most notorious sites in the countryside.
Absolutely. For those of you who don't know who the Naked Rambler is, it's actually a 54-year-old British man, a former Royal Marine called Stephen Goff. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Now, since 2003, he's been roaming around Britain in his birthday suit. Now, he's been arrested dozens of times and has spent a lot of time in jail. You can read about it here in Le Figaro. Between May 2006 and October 2012, he enjoyed just 7 days in liberty. So he took his case to the European Court of Human Rights, claiming that he was suffering from repression over his nudity. But unfortunately, well, for him, the court turned him down and said that his behavior was just going against standards of acceptable public behavior. And not only that, but he might have been offensive to other people. Le Figaro, I think, sums up the situation quite well. It's not a human right to walk around naked, but it's important to note that the Naked Rambler was very disappointed with the European Court of Human Rights. How can nature expressed in human form be indecent?
Exactly. I don't know that. I don't disagree with him, to be honest. Thanks very much, Flo Villamino, there with a look through the French newspapers for us. We're going to move on with a look at all the latest on the web in Web News.